So this is a video response to Star Wars Theory. This is a video where it came up in my notifications because I'm still subscribed to Star Wars Theory because I like when he posts a fan fiction. If he's done that recently. I can't remember the last fan fiction that guy brought up or did. It's mostly just been bitching about the direction of the franchise. And the thumbnails are just... They've got such a fucking clickbaity nature to it that's meant to stir up outrage that I can't watch it. I look at the thumbnail and I go, I don't want to waste my time with this fucking video. And this was another example of it where Star Wars Theory, well, it wasn't directly asked of him, but someone on Twitter said to Mark Hamill, hey, did Star Wars Theory get your permission to use you in his fan film? And Mark Hamill went, no. That's all Mark Hamill said. He didn't elaborate. He didn't say, fuck you, Star Wars Theory, I'm going to sue you, or whatever. No, he just said, no, the guy didn't get permission to use my likeness. And instead of Star Wars Theory, in my opinion, doing the honorable thing, reaching out to Mark Hamill, or trying to reach out saying, my apologies, sir, may I show you what I'm doing, and you be the judge if you want to be in it. If not, I will get an actor to play you. I think that's a fair thing to do. Look, I've been in situations where I've made, if you don't know this, I make giantess collages. And there are models who I've used who may not like my work or didn't like that I didn't ask them. So I've kind of had to go, okay, look, this is for your eyes only. I haven't posted it. I just made this. And I'm sending it to you directly. If you have a problem with something not being a certain way, I can edit it real easy to make it satisfactory for you. Because if I don't have your consent or your permission, then I'm not going to release this. Now, Star Wars Theory goes into kind of a rant about, well, I got permission from Lucasfilm to do my fan film, yada, yada, yada. And then he goes into this whole spiel of this martyrism of being a Star Wars fan in the 2000s and late and 90s and shit. And going, oh, it was a secret thing. And maybe it's because I was a kid and I grew up, you know, special ed and shit, and I was kind of... I don't think I was really an outcast. I think I got along with basically everybody I met most of the time, but people like Star Wars. People talk about fucking Star Wars. You just had to find it. Okay, Harry Potter was kind of more popular, which made sense, because Harry Potter had more movies in the 2000s compared to Star Wars. Star Wars had 2, technically 3 movies come out in the 2000s, whereas fucking Harry Potter was like an explosion. Then you had Twilight and... So Star Wars got overshadowed. I'm telling you my perspective as a fan of Star Wars. Did Star Wars get overshadowed after Revenge of the Sith? Oh yeah. It was just for TV. So you would go on Cartoon Network every Friday, you'd watch some episodes of Clone Wars. But then, in this video, Star Wars Theory said something that really pissed me off. And I'll tell you why it fucking pissed me off. And I think I might unsub after this. Maybe he's done this and I just didn't notice it or didn't want to notice it. Because I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. If I like somebody and I have fond memories of them and their work has brought me a lot of joy, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Even to this day as a 28-year-old man. So when Star Wars Theory says this dumb shit.
When I was a kid, in the 90s and 2000s, we're not talking about these new age Star Wars fans that Disney has amassed. It wasn't really all that cool to be talking about Star Wars all the time. It was more of like a hush-hush secret thing, but only amongst your friends and nerds and geeks, real geeks. Like now you have like e-girls being like, I'm such a nerd, I'm such a geek. It's like, no, you're an opportunist.
I feel the need to respond. Who the fuck are you to deem who the fuck is a real fan and who's just a pretend fan. If you like Star Wars, you like Star Wars. It doesn't matter what the fuck got you into it. Oh, you loved Rey's arc. You liked Rey as a character. Rey was your main character that got you into the franchise. Great. Welcome to the fandom. You're a fan. You like the series. You watch the movies. You're in. It doesn't matter if they were born in the 2000s, late 90s, or what. If they liked Star Wars or any part of Star Wars and it made them feel something, this sense of hopefulness and optimism and wanting to be a better person and just overall become a better human being, that's all that matters. So when I listen to Star Wars Theory say that condescending shit, I get pissed. Let me turn the tables here. Okay, Star Wars Theory. When I gave you that super chat as one hardcore fan to another, and I asked you about the despecialized edition, you had no fucking idea what that project was.
I was wondering what your thoughts on
Is there a reason we're just standing
Army's despecialized editions are, and what are your thoughts on changes to George made to the OT? What's Harmy's despecialized editions?
Oh.
The changes George made to the OT, I mean, he has every right to make changes to his movies.
Federation droids here.
You must be getting closer to the heart of the subforces.
You had no awareness of it. So can I therefore gatekeep you and say, oh, Star Wars Theory doesn't know shit about the despecialized edition. He's not a real fan, because a real fan would give a shit about the changes George Lucas made from 97 to 2019. Never want to get real technical because of the McClunky cut in New Hope. So can I therefore gatekeep you? Can I gatekeep anybody that had no awareness of the despecialized edition to Star Wars? I could, but I would be a fucking asshole. You can't get more fan than going to a convention and seeing someone dress up as a character they love. So when I went to Philly Comic Con, I met a lot of Anakin cosplayers. Met some female Anakin cosplayers, and their cosplays were great. They really nailed Anakin to a T. So are they fake fans? They look a little younger than me. Would you say they're fake fans? Or if I just bumped into some Star Wars fans at Philly Comic Con and we just shot the shit about, you know, liking Kenobi, or saying, I overall liked Kenobi minus one thing. Would I be gatekept because I liked the Disney era of Star Wars, where I mostly liked it, minus a few projects? Am I not a real fan because I have very understandable grievances with George Lucas and how he handled the original trilogy? Am I not a real fan because I had understandable grievances due to how much he changed the movies and refused to create a satisfactory version of those films officially? You see kind of this vicious cycle of gatekeeping and how stupid and petty it is? Which, by the way, when Mark Hamill didn't even give you shit, he just said, no, this guy didn't have permission to use my likeness, and you turned it into this whole spiel that was just bullshit. Like, it really was. I listened to that whole fucking thing, and you start going into gatekeeping bullshit, start acting arrogant as hell for no fucking reason. You made a solid fan film that I liked. It was a fan film, though. It's not considered old canon, it's not considered new canon, it's your canon. Like example of fan canon. I say, if I wanted to do a crossover of Doctor Who and Star Wars, is that canon? No, it's fan fiction. So what you did is high budget fan fiction. So I guess here's another thing that pissed me off. Just the fucking sexism and condescension in his voice. It offended me, it pissed me off. So I want to fucking give you this bit of knowledge about my life. Which parent do you think it was that got me into Star Wars? And Star Trek? And science fiction in general? Which parent do you think it was? Was it my mom or was it my dad? It was my mom. My mom was someone who grew up with the original Star Trek series. Grew up seeing the original Star Wars movies in the theater. Saw TNG when it was on air. Is a hardcore Trekkie. Is a pretty hardcore Star Wars fan. We saw a bunch of the movies in the theater when they came out, especially during the Disney era. They were important bonding things for us. So, when I hear Star Wars theory mock the idea of a woman loving Star Wars or being really into Star Wars, that really fucking pisses me off. Star Wars is not a gendered fandom. Star Wars has protagonists of all races and creeds. That's a beautiful thing about it. Also, I'm just sick of this dumbass point, and I'm just too much of a nerd not to bitch about it, not to rant about it. So I'm gonna rant about it. When I hear these types of schmucks go, Star Wars was never political? Are you dumb? No, really, are you stupid? How the fuck can you watch the prequel trilogy? How the fuck can you watch the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy in chronological order? Watch all of those movies and go, not political. How can you watch the Clone Wars and go, not political? How? Okay, here's an important clip. This clip I'm about to show you is the most political clip in the entire saga.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Now, why is that clip of Anakin Skywalker going, if you are not with me, then you are my enemy? That movie was in production during the early 2000s. What major historical events were happening in the early 2000s? We had 9/11. Bush signed the Patriot Act, i.e. starting the surveillance state that we currently live in today. And in 2003, him declaring war in Iraq. Let's look at what Bush said in that fucking speech.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Let's play that with Anakin.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Let's play him back to back again.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Again. Fucking editing me. Let's intersplice that shit for the hell of it.
If you're not with me,
You're with the enemy.
Now, was George Lucas really trying to suggest that the current administration, when those movies were new, was being rather authoritarian and was going in a direction of an evil type of governing philosophy that we probably couldn't get out of? Was George Lucas perhaps trying to warn the public through Attack of the Clones and through Revenge of the Sith the dangers that our country was heading towards? How about we go back to the early drafts of Star Wars, where prior to the Emperor being a Sith Lord, he was just a corrupt politician. And who was the most corrupt politician of the era when Star Wars was written? Richard Nixon. The Emperor was originally a allegory for Richard Nixon and the corruption of a government that wants to hide things from its people. You want to go even further? This is especially true with Return of the Jedi, and this is from the horse's mouth if you look into it. Lucas based the Rebel Alliance and mainly the Ewoks off of the Viet Cong fighting the U.S. So is that not political? How about all the various historical references to history and politics that are in the original trilogy? How about the colors of the Empire? Red, white, and black. The colors of the Nazi flag. How about Darth Vader's helmet? Shaped similarly to a Nazi war helmet in the Second World War. These are not accidents. Star Wars is very, very, very fucking political. And when George Lucas was writing that shit, it was more fucking political than anything Disney touched. All Disney did was just, well, not even Disney. Because the most political film in the sequel trilogy is The Last Jedi. And all that movie did was slavery bad, child labor bad, elites using slave labor is bad. Which, slavery was already a topic talked about in the prequel era, so it was just expanding on what Lucas did. Basically, I'm starting to be done with his channel. This might be the last straw for me. I'm just done. I've watched this guy since 2016. He was a comfort channel when I was going through some hard shit back in 2016 and 2017. But I think, unfortunately, he's shown his true colors time and time again. And those true colors disturb me. And I really wish he would stop acting like he didn't have a large influence. Because he does. He's one of the largest Star Wars channels on YouTube and on social media. And I'm very disappointed that he seems to have forgotten one of the best things about being a Star Wars fan. What George Lucas really wanted to focus on when he made the saga. It was about being an empathetic and kind person to your fellow man, and to not judge others. That's what Lucas was trying to show. That's what Lucas's idea of a perfect Jedi was. Someone who is kind, compassionate, someone who sees through the flaws of others, because perhaps there is goodness underneath. That is a Jedi. That is a philosophy of one. Not an asshole who gatekeeps other people for no reason. Not someone who gatekeeps an entire sex for no reason. Ironic to end a Star Wars video like this, but live long and prosper. Thanks for watching this video, and hopefully I won't get too much hate for this.